So emotional eating comes with a lot of costs that no one is talking about. So let's dive in. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. So emotional eating isn't just about the food. It comes with many hidden costs. It impacts your confidence, it impacts your relationships with others, it impacts how you show up in your life, your confidence, and it impacts you financially. So today I want to share with you how emotional eating is impacting you on these levels and how you can start shifting this so that you're not paying these costs. So today I'm going to share with you how emotional eating is impacting you in multiple ways. We're going to break it down a little bit more, and I'm going to share with you ways I see that you can resolve it. I'm going to also share some client examples so that you can clearly see what's been going on and some of my own personal examples. So if I think back to my journey with emotional eating and I look at the financial cost to what I was doing, I was paying for a personal trainer. I was going to talk therapy. I was seeing a chiropractor. I saw a nutritionist. I was spending a lot on supplements. And none of these things, while in and of themselves are bad or wrong, they weren't really pinpointing my emotional eating. I didn't have a solid strategy or plan to get to the other side. And by the time I got to this breaking point and moved to Korea, I had spent thousands of dollars on all of these different modalities, and I still didn't know I was an emotional eater. And this might show up for you in a similar ways. I've had clients that they've been on Weight Watchers, they've gone to therapy, and they have additional issues along with their emotional eating, or they're getting takeout, or they're trying the latest diet, or if someone were to invest in Ozempic, that's costing them a lot of money and it's not getting to the root of this pattern. And so with even spending so much money, maybe trying to deal with your symptoms, you're not getting to the root. And so this money is not really seen as an investment. Yes, you're going to trial and error and learn what doesn't work. But if you can cut that short and actually invest in what works, you're going to get to your goal and have something sustainable to move you forward. So one of my clients, Kelly, when she came to see me, she had to make a decision about investing in this program. She knew that she couldn't keep doing the Weight Watchers, and she was seeing her therapist for 3 years, and for the last year and a half was binging daily. And that was adding up to eating these excessive amounts of food, ordering out. She was also drinking a lot of alcohol. And so by the time she finished the program after the 12 weeks, because she was resolving her emotional eating, not going to food to soothe, and eventually not going to alcohol to soothe, she made up the investment in the program by the end of the program. And so it's almost like the program didn't cost her anything because she was just sort of leaking so much money and energy into her coping mechanism. So beyond the financial cost of investing in things that don't work to resolve your emotional eating, there's obviously the physical cost. So emotional eating doesn't just mean you're eating food. It impacts you physically in terms of having digestive issues, having inflammation, having mood imbalance. All of these things are a result of emotional eating. So emotional eating can impact you physically. Of course, you're eating when you're not actually hungry. It will impact your digestive system. And this is the gateway to impacting you on a more systemic level in your body. When you're emotionally eating and you're in this coping strategy, it means your nervous system is in fight or flight. So that's automatically shifting you into the nervous system that is creating stress. It's going to create disease. It's going to create health issues in your body. Usually it starts off with digestive issues because we're eating when we're not actually hungry. And so you might be spending money on supplements and programs to help with your gut health. It will lead to inflammation. It will lead to mood imbalance. So maybe you're on prescriptions for your mood imbalance because you're not actually addressing the root of your pattern. When you have inflammation, maybe you're trying all of these different diets to support you and really investing in that, and it's not helping you to shift the needle because you're not getting to the root of this pattern. It's also impacting you in terms of weight gain and feeling maybe really heavy and weighed down in your body. This is not, I don't I don't talk about weight loss as the goal of working with clients, but it is physically impacting you when you are shifting your nervous system to fight or flight. This is where your body is going to hold on to weight, store weight. It's going to have inflammation. It's going to have digestive issues, mood imbalance, immunity issues, disease. All of these things are starting to happen when we're not taking care of the root of our emotional eating. And so beyond the physical cost, obviously there is the emotional and mental cost of this pattern. It creates a lot of shame. It makes you feel like a failure, like a loser, like you can't figure this out. I get it. I was right there feeling like, what's wrong with me every time I would emotionally eat or binge? Like, what is wrong with me? Why don't I have enough willpower? Why can't I stop this pattern? And, a lot of my clients, when they emotionally eat, they feel a lot of shame. They do it when no one's around. They do it when they're alone. It makes them isolate themselves. It makes them not feel good enough because they feel like something's wrong with them. And they're also triggered into this pattern because they have this sort of shame and self-doubt, low confidence, low self-esteem that's happening. And so clients are also obsessed with food constantly. You have this constant racing thoughts, or you're mentally really focused on food. And if you're feeling this obsession with food, or you pass by the mirror and you say something critical to yourself, you're feeling the shame, the self-doubt, you're feeling like a failure. So this is impacting your energy, your focus, your ability to go after your goals, your ability to show up in relationships as yourself, because you are feeling this shame and this self-doubt and wanting to hide, wanting to isolate. It also impacts you in terms of your work or having opportunities at work. You're not showing up really confidently in yourself. You're not showing up and feeling really confident in your value. And that means that you're going to miss out on opportunities. You will not put yourself out there because you don't have the confidence to do that. Maybe in social settings, you feel self-conscious, you want to hide. And so that's going to limit your opportunities to maybe network or to put yourself out there. If you have a business that's needs to be marketed on social media, you're not going to want to put yourself out there because you feel this insecurity, this low confidence, this low self-esteem. And so I've had clients that they don't want to show up for events. They don't want to socialize. Part of it is that they feel really self-conscious. They don't know what to eat. They also feel like they get triggered at these events. They want to avoid these situations. Maybe they're trying to manage their eating by avoiding these situations, or these situations bring up a lot of self-consciousness. They feel that low confidence. They feel like they can't wear something. They can't show up fully and be who they are. And it's not really about going to these events and wearing something. It's about how you feel inside. You feeling that shame and sort of like something is wrong with me. And so I want to sort of tie in a few of these points with an example of the client. So Kelly, who I mentioned in the beginning, who came in and by the end of the program had really paid for the program with the fact that she was no longer emotionally eating, that she wasn't using alcohol, that she was really just focused on taking care of herself and meeting her true needs. And we really got to that root. She started to feel more confident in her body, more at ease. And so she also felt really sensitive at work. She didn't have the confidence to speak up for herself. She didn't have the self-esteem. She didn't have the boundaries. And as we worked through the program, beyond just her emotional eating not happening daily or even, for a few weeks of the program, as we near the midway point, she was able to speak up for herself. Because usually at work, because she didn't speak up for herself, because she didn't advocate for herself, she would get loaded with extra work. Someone would ask her to do a favor, and she would be doing work that wasn't hers because she didn't know how to say no. And her no wasn't a solid no. It wasn't a firm no. There wasn't a boundary there. And so she kept being asked to do work. And it wasn't until she started moving through her emotional eating, we started healing those root blocks, that she was able to say something and for it to stick. It was almost like a new person emerged. She said, I don't even know how that it's like this other voice came out of me, because she was feeling that embodied confidence. And this is really amazing when we start moving through this emotional eating pattern. So resolving your emotional eating isn't about willpower, restriction. That's not going to give you the results that you want. that's going to give you temporary relief that's going to pile on and still trigger you into more emotional eating. Emotional eating really is about going deeper. It's about getting to the root of this pattern. It's about resolving the root, which is usually unprocessed trauma. It's about rebuilding your relationship to food, your body, and your emotions so that you can gain that embodied sense of confidence, ease, and peace around food. So as you move through your emotional eating, you're going to resolve a lot of these issues that might not feel tied, or your ego might say, no, it's safer to stay where we're at, and you don't recognize the hidden costs. And it might not be in your face because you've been in this uncomfortable comfort zone for so long. But if you're ready to resolve your emotional eating, I would love to invite you to find out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution Program. This is my 12-week container where we move through the steps to get you to ease, peace, and confidence around food and in your body. So this is done with support, guidance, in-depth tools, weekly check-ins to really get you to the other side and get to the root of this pattern. So you're shifting this and getting to sustainable change so that you can see these results really clearly. And so if you're interested in that, I'll put the link below. If you have any questions about what I've shared today, please let me know. I hope this opens your eyes to see the cost of this pattern. It's not just about food and willpower. It's about so much more. It's about all of these other areas of your life that this pattern is impacting. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.